Okay, so these are just two additional points that I was going to put in the video, but I accidentally forgot about it. So I'm going to put it right at the start before the introduction and the usual content on the channel. So the two things I wanted to talk about were the Game Week 18 Liverpool blank. And my suggestion is to start planning for that now. I think a lot of people are trying to bring in a lot of Leicester assets, maybe even tripling up on them. And if you've already got 3 Liverpool assets, you should also have a look at the fixtures and try to save those double transfers, 2 free transfers for that Game Week 18 blank. I know it's early, but you know, in this game, you need to start preparing far in advance, because I think Leicester have a difficult, Game Week 18, Leicester against Manchester City away is not a particularly good fixture for Man City. It's not a good fixture for Leicester. And if you've got 3 Liverpool players as well, they're going to be blanking. And the second quick point I was going to talk about was, should you play your free hit, which is when you play your chip and you can change your team for 1 game week only and it reverts back to its original self the following game week. If you are deciding to play your free hit in that week, I completely understand. You know, if you've got 3 Liverpool players and maybe 2 or 3 Man City players and 2 or 3 Leicester players, that's a big chunk of your team. I personally would still advise that you guys save that free hit for when those big blank weeks come along, for like the FA Cup quarter final, where the likes of City and Liverpool and Leicester and other big teams could be completely blanking. So a free hit just for Liverpool is perhaps not the best idea, and you just have to put up with Leicester playing against the likes of Man City. But in a blank game week, those players don't play, period. So I would suggest starting to save up. Make sure you go into just before the deadline for Game Week 18 with 2 free transfers, so you're able to maybe excuse me. So my plan would be have 2 free transfers, take out Salah for 1 game week and just put Mane and Alexander-Arnold on the bench, and then bring Salah back, because I think Salah is the least likely to sort of go up or down in terms of price. But I'll keep my eye on that. But that's going to be my plan, and I just wanted to point that out to start. Even though we're going into Game Week 12 and it's 6 game weeks away, maybe just sort of bookmark that now. And then we'll go into the usual video. Thank you. Hello fellow FPL managers, and welcome to another video where we can take a quick look back at Game Week 11 and look forward towards Game Week 12, which is a huge game week with Manchester City going to Anfield to play against Liverpool in this crazy topsy-turvy season. So having a quick look back at Game Week 11, and you can see I got 67 points, and sat on my first bench I have Willems with 8 points and Rico with 6, but I cannot complain because defensively I made the correct decisions. I went for Sionchu, who got 14, Alexander-Arnold, who got 7, and Lord Lundstram, who got 21 points. So an absolutely fantastic week. I could have gone 5 at the back and ended up with an even bigger score. Of course, I don't think still that would have been the right decision. I would have been very lucky if I'd have got away with that. So defense, very happy with that. Forward, Callum Wilson again, disappointing the people that brought him in before that Norwich game after such a solid start to the season. But Tammy Abraham more than made up for that problem there. So again, forwards, 2 forwards get me 13 points, not too bad. Big points at the back. And then look across that midfield. You can see Captain Sterling on 2 points because he got 1 because he got booked. Tielemans 3, De Bruyne 2, Salah 2, Mount 1. A fraction of points this game week coming from my midfield, and it's not even a bad midfield. Sterling and De Bruyne at home to Southampton. You've got Salah going to Aston Villa, who got hooked off early. Mount, who's actually carrying a knock following the Ajax game, which isn't good news. And Tielemans, who have been playing majestic football this season. They won 2-0 against Crystal Palace away from home as well. And nothing. And that's sort of the story of the season so far. But we did see a pretty small green arrow. If you have a look on the right side, you can see my mini leagues. I went up in 1 mini league with my friends, and then down in pretty much all my other mini leagues. And then the only good thing is my overall rank is sort of the only green arrow I'm sort of getting here. And I'm up now inside the top 1.5 million. And like I said last week, guys, please remember that don't worry about your rank too much just yet. The margins between 1.5k to 500k is about 30 points, and that's really nothing. That's one or two good game weeks better than everybody else, and you'll be clawing back inside the top million. You get inside that top million, and then you'll be getting that sort of eager to get inside the top 500k. So try not to worry about it too much. It's still quite early days, and I'm not worrying about it too yet. As long as we're making the right decisions, then hopefully those green arrows will come. But it's just that situation where this season has been absolutely crazy. A quick look at how my team's going to be lining up. See a little bit of change coming in here. So Willems gets his first start. I cannot, and I don't see how anyone can really, who has Lundstrom, not play him despite him going to Spurs. It's not ideal. It's not an easy fixture, but it's basically an attacking midfielder in a very defensively sound and solid Sheffield United side. And Spurs haven't exactly been setting the season on fire so far. And TAA, who is still creating the most chances and putting in the most crosses of any player in the Premier League right now, for me, he is arguably the most essential player to have in your side. His point ceiling seems to be just almost the highest in the entire FPL game. And my captaincy is currently on new transfer in Mane. I had mentioned this for a few weeks. It has been penciled in for the last 3 to 5 game weeks or so. And Sterling, who I've had since game week 1, has made way for Mane. So I feel like the fixture swing for Man City, and of course Man City are favourites, are a fantastic team. Not been playing as good this season as we've seen them in recent seasons so far, but the fact when you compare City's fixtures compared to Liverpool's, and I just love the idea. I've been saying since game week 2, Mane has been on my shopping list. Every time I watch Liverpool, I've watched like every minute of Man City and almost every minute of Liverpool so far this season. And every single time I've watched these games, of all the games that I keep watching, Mane for me is just, he gives me the most fun. Maybe now because I don't have Sterling, I'll be scared to watch Manchester City, but I just feel every time I've seen Mane play, he's currently the second best player in FPL right now, just behind Jamie Vardy. And he's just, I just feel that a lot of people will do double Liverpool defense and then probably Mane over Salah right now. There's now just more owners of Mane than there are of Salah. But I just feel that a combination of Mane and Salah will come good. I think he'll come back. I know he's not been in the best of form right now, but I think he'll come good. And that double Liverpool attack basically is, I think, really deadly. And then that was the only change, just one transfer that I've made, pretty much like for like Sterling for Mane, and then Tielemans, Mount. And if Mount's injured, I'm okay with Rico coming off the bench, and then Sionchu and Greenwood. I'm still sticking with Wilson. I'm not in a rush, but the plan is next week. I'm trying to reduce my points hit so I can have one more week at least with Callum Wilson leading the line. I'm not too worried about that. Away to Newcastle isn't the worst fixture to have there. So we'll just take a quick look back at last week's predictions, and it wasn't good. Manchester City, a huge surprise there, huge letdown. Like I said, I've pretty much watched every single minute because without me living in the UK and with the TV package that I've got, I can choose any Premier League game, and I've been watching pretty much all of them because Man City and the likes of Liverpool don't usually play at Saturday 3 o'clock, but even when they do, I'm able to watch all of the games live. And I've watched a lot of Manchester City this season, and they do not seem anything like their original sort of best. They seemed like a couple of teams have kind of figured out a little bit about Pep Guardiola and his Manchester City side. Of course, they still have a huge squad of quality there to finally break teams down, but they just didn't play well again against Southampton at home. And this is not the first time that we've seen Man City slip up. They kind of feel like they're losing more points already than they kind of did all of last season. It felt like every week was like a 3 to 5-0 victory. And again, that was a big letdown. Aubameyang, though, my tick of the week, he did pick up a goal against Wolves. Martial, nothing in that game against Bournemouth. And that's kind of what Manchester United feel like at the moment. Just so unpredictable, so volatile. It feels like one week they could go out and beat, Chelsea 3-0, and then the next week they'll lose to Norwich or Watford. It's difficult at the moment, but I'm going to be backing Martial when I talk about game week 12. Morpay, he was at home to Norwich. he played. It took him a long time to break Norwich down. I think Tim Krul was having another blinding game, but wasn't managed to pick up anything, and neither did Willian. So again, this is just proving the unpredictable nature of this season. If you would have said like Kyle Walker was going to have to score a late winner at home to Southampton, who just got thumped 9-0 by Leicester, you probably wouldn't have, had a lot to. You wouldn't have going to any bookmakers putting any bets on there. So going on to the predictions for this game week and people I think you should be looking at for not just this game week, but perhaps the next couple as well. So avoid, again, I'm finding it difficult to put anyone in the avoid section because the unpredictable way FPL is this season, Traore getting braces at Man City and the like. So that it's difficult to sort of say, hey, avoid these people. And at the minute, it feels like anyone could get any points at any time, anywhere. So pretty much anyone is on the board. So we'll move on to the picks. Jamie Vardy, it's difficult to look past this man so far. 9.4 million, 28.2% ownership. So that's kind of surprisingly low considering he is now the highest scoring FPL player currently. 7 goals in the last 5 games. He's against a pretty slow Arsenal defence who are having some issues now. Granit Xhaka has just had the captaincy stripped from him and he's gone to Aubameyang. Game week 12 to 18 after Arsenal is very nice for Leicester. They're right towards the top of the fixture ticker. No real stats to support Jamie Vardy. He is known as a stat buster, but the only stats that are important that he excels at are goals, goal conversion, and how many FPL points he has. So it's pretty much hard to ignore Jamie Vardy right now. Mane, I'm going to suggest for this game week. Maybe surprising due to the fact, obviously, against Man City, but 12 million now. 33% ownership, is a top-class player in great form. He's had 2 double-digit hauls in the last 4 game weeks. So the issue is he is against Man City, but City do look really off. I mentioned this earlier, especially they are defensively vulnerable. And that could see pretty much any of the front 3 of Salah, Mane, and Firmino to get some success against that Manchester City defence. He's the second best player in FPL right now. And the thing is, he doesn't have any freak results like Jamie Vardy did against Southampton, which shows a little bit more, just a fraction more consistency than Jamie Vardy. Also, in terms of big chances, he's second behind Jesus and Man City, and he's joint 4th for shots on target. So it's showing that he is getting in and around there. But, he's second right now. He's a top-class player. He's been in fine form since, I think, about January. He overtook Salah as the best FPL asset in terms of points. So I don't see that changing, especially after this game week when Liverpool get a pretty decent fixture on. And Raul Jimenez as well. I've been talking about him for a while. I said I want to bring him in. I just don't want to be taking hits for it. I don't want to be taking out Wilson away to Newcastle. And then have, a -4 and put that pressure on Jimenez. I'm okay to wait an extra week. It probably will be my transfer next week in for Callum Wilson. 7.2 million, 11.9%. So he's another stat busting player, and he's finding his form again. He's scored 10 points, 7 points, 2 points, and 9 points in the last 4 game weeks. Wolves actually right now sit right at the top of the fixture ticker in terms of fixture difficulty, with games against Villa, Bournemouth, Sheffield United, and West Ham coming up in the next 4 game weeks. All 4, surprisingly, Sheffield United is probably the most defensively difficult fixture that he's going to have there, but Villa defense, Bournemouth defense, and West Ham defense is something that Raul Jimenez could take advantage of there. Also, just under 12% as well. He is still a really good differential, and I feel that a front pairing of Vardy and Jimenez seems like a deadly duo of stat-busting strikers who are extremely well valued in terms of their price and their points per million that these two could earn. So if they were your 2 front strikers, which I would love to have as my 2 strikers, or even if it's a 3 with Tammy Abraham, I think that is a very, very dangerous pairing or a trio of players there, and something that I would like to be working towards. But I don't think I'll be able to get there in time before the fixtures turn. Going towards a place to take a risk on. So it's another Chelsea player. I said Willian last week. And I'm going to go for Pulisic this week. 7.3 million, 7.9% ownership. 4 goals and an assist in the last 4 game weeks. Yeah, good form. Home to Palace, who aren't easy, but Chelsea are still favourites. And that Mason Mount knock/injury could just solidify his place this game week. But he's looking good. He's looking sharp. I know a lot of people switch towards the likes of Hudson-Odoi, but I still feel like Pulisic or Willian would be starting, and I think he's a pretty good player. He was under a lot of pressure at the start. I know even when he was playing for USA when they lost to Canada and he got subbed and he was crying or tearing up. He didn't have a good start, but Lampard seems to have brought him back into the side, and he's grasping it with both hands. The next one might be a little bit of a surprise. Saint-Maximin, 5.4 million, 0.4% ownership. So he could be your fourth or probably your fifth midfielder here if you're playing in a 5-man midfield. And it's a huge differential, 0.4% ownership. But this for me was based on the eye test of watching the game and the fixtures that Newcastle have. But he looked really good, extremely fast, and very dangerous against West Ham. He could have had an assist when he set up Almiron when he was through on goal. And he was through on goal twice in that same situation when they knocked over the top. He looks so kind of creative, dangerous flair. You don't know, he doesn't know what he's going to do. You don't know what he's going to do. But I also found that the correlation here is the fact that in the last 4 game weeks, they beat United 1-0, lost to Chelsea 1-0, drew with Wolves 1-1, and beat West Ham 3-2 away, which are pretty good results. Newcastle looked like they've turned a corner. And in those last 4 game weeks, that's when Saint-Maximin came into the side. So, coincidence? Maybe, maybe not. But also in the next 2 game weeks, he plays Bournemouth at home this weekend and then Aston Villa the next. So 2 good game weeks with a differential who's done pretty well, and he looked really, really good against West Ham. Even though the stats might not back that up in terms of he didn't get any FPL points, but he's coming to the side. Newcastle have picked up some pretty good results, and he looks like one of the key attacking outlets there. And finally, again, I'm going to have to toot this same horn. Martial, I'm not saying jump on him because, like I mentioned earlier, Manchester United are still a little bit difficult to dictate. But again, 7.6 million, 6.5% ownership. And it's the same as last week, and it's the same as I said earlier. Decent fixtures. You get an out of position Manchester United forward for less than 8 million, and he's at home to Brighton, followed by Sheffield United and Aston Villa. So fixtures are pretty good, but you're getting a United frontman for less than 8 million, and he does look like their main sort of source of attack. I know it wasn't a great result against Bournemouth, but he himself has been in decent form. He started the season well, got injured, came back, did well in that game. So. But again, you kind of mixing it in here. It is a differential. There are probably better options for that kind of price range. But I just feel for how many, his percentage of ownership and his points potential, especially when Pogba, who's supposed to be coming back, I think actually is going to be December now. I think that sort of point ceiling potential is going to raise the roof a little bit there. So that's going to be it for this game week, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you liked it, maybe leave a like and subscribe. Hopefully I'll be back on Friday for the live stream around 12 o'clock lunchtime, UK time. It'd be great to see you guys there. And yeah, hope you like it. If you do, let me know in the comments below what your plans are for this game week. Who do you think is going to win the battle at Anfield? Is it going to be Liverpool or is it going to be Man City? And who's your captain for this game week? I still have only had 1 successful captaincy pick in all 11 game weeks so far. So let me know how your captaincy picks are going and who is wearing the armband for you this week. So thanks a lot, guys. And as always, have a good one.